What I'm about to tell you will change how you read every woman in your life. I'm showing you exactly how to decode the hidden language of female attachment, and once you see these signs, you'll never miss them again. Before we dive into these signs that most men completely overlook, do me a favor. Hit that like button. If you're ready for some real insight into the female mind, subscribe to understand what we're really thinking when we say we're fine, and let me know in the comments what city you're watching from. Today I'm breaking down 10 hidden signs that reveal when a woman is emotionally attached to you. These aren't the obvious ones like texting you first or remembering your birthday. Those are surface level. These are the subtle psychological tells that we can't hide, even when we try. Even when we want to play it cool, even when we're scared of being too vulnerable. These signs come from something deeper. They're involuntary responses that happen when someone has genuinely gotten under our skin in the best possible way. Stick around especially for sign number 10, because that one doesn't just show attachment, it reveals the depth of emotional investment that most men never recognize. And it's probably the most powerful indicator you'll ever learn. Sign 1. She mirrors your communication style. Here's something most guys never notice, but every woman does unconsciously when she's emotionally attached to you. And once you see this, you'll never miss it again. She starts mirroring your communication style. And I don't mean she's copying you deliberately, like some kind of psychological manipulation technique. This is completely subconscious. This is her brain literally rewiring itself to match your frequency, because emotional attachment creates this deep desire for harmony and connection. Let me paint you a picture. You know how you text. Maybe you're the type who sends short, direct messages. Sounds good. On my way. Thanks. Very efficient, very to the point. And suddenly, this woman who usually writes novels in her text messages, I'm talking paragraphs with multiple thoughts, emotions, questions, follow-ups, starts matching your energy. Her paragraphs become sentences. Her sentences become phrases. She starts using periods instead of exclamation points. She stops using as many emojis. Or maybe it works the other way. You're expressive. You use emojis. You write longer messages with multiple thoughts. You're comfortable with emotional language, and she starts doing the same thing. She starts using your phrases, your expressions, your rhythm of speech, even your pauses in conversation. But here's where it gets really interesting. This mirroring goes beyond just text messages. She starts matching your energy levels in conversation. If you're someone who speaks slowly and thoughtfully, she'll slow down her usually rapid-fire speaking pattern. If you're animated and use hand gestures, she'll become more physically expressive. If you tend to pause before answering questions, she'll start doing the same thing. I remember watching this happen with my friend Sarah. She's normally this rapid-fire talker, always interrupting, always jumping from topic to topic, thoughts spilling out faster than she can organize them. But when she started falling for this guy Marcus, something shifted. Marcus was this calm, thoughtful speaker. He'd pause before answering, choose his words carefully, never seemed rushed or frantic. And without even realizing it, Sarah started doing the same thing. She'd catch herself mid-sentence, slow down, really think about what she wanted to say. Her friends noticed it before she did. Here's the psychology behind it. When a woman is emotionally attached, her brain wants to create harmony, synchronization, connection at the deepest level. It's like emotional GPS. We're constantly calibrating to match the person who matters to us. This isn't imitation, it's emotional synchronization. It's our subconscious saying, I want to be on the same wavelength as this person. I want to create resonance, compatibility, understanding. The fascinating thing is that this mirroring happens even when we're trying to maintain our independence, even when we're consciously trying not to change for a guy. Our nervous system, our communication patterns, our energy, they start syncing up whether we want them to or not. If you notice she's starting to sound more like you, text more like you, even breathe in sync with you during conversations, that's not coincidence. That's not her being fake or losing herself. That's attachment. That's her system recognizing you as someone worth harmonizing with. Sign 2. She remembers your micro details. But here's where it gets really revealing. And this is something that separates casual interest from genuine emotional investment in a way that will blow your mind when you really understand it. She remembers your micro details, not just your birthday or your job title, or the basic facts about your life that anyone paying minimal attention would retain. I'm talking about the tiny, seemingly insignificant things you've mentioned in passing, the random comments you made months ago, the preferences you shared once and forgot about. You mentioned once, maybe 3 months ago, that you don't like when people chew with their mouths open because it reminds you of childhood dinners with your brother. 3 months later, she's still conscious of how she eats around you, and she'll actually call out other people for doing it because she knows it bothers you. You casually said one Tuesday morning that you prefer your coffee black because milk makes you feel sluggish, and 6 weeks later, when she's making coffee for both of you, she remembers this random preference. Not only does she remember it, but she's also noticed that you seem more energetic when you drink it black, so now she's mentally filed this away as things that help him feel his best. You told her about how your mum used to make grilled cheese with this specific type of bread when you were sick as a kid, and it always made you feel better. 6 months later, when you're having a rough day at work and you're stressed and exhausted, guess what she shows up with? And it's not just the sandwich. She remembered the specific bread, the way your mom used to cut it diagonally, even the fact that you mentioned she'd serve it with tomato soup. This goes so far beyond just having a good memory or being a good listener. When a woman is emotionally attached, your words don't just enter her ears and get processed, they get filed away in her heart. Every casual comment, every random preference, every small story you tell becomes part of her internal database about you. She's creating a detailed manual for how to love this person well. I had a friend who could tell you exactly how her boyfriend liked his eggs cooked, over easy but the yolk couldn't be too runny, what side of the bed he preferred, left side, because he liked to face the window when he woke up, which songs made him nostalgic, anything by his dad's favorite band from the 80s. What smell reminded him of his childhood home, his mom's lavender fabric softener, how he liked his burgers. Prepared, medium rare, no pickles, extra onions, and even what kind of day he'd had, based on how he walked up the stairs to her apartment. That's not normal attentiveness. That's not just being a considerate partner. That's emotional attachment expressing itself through hypervigilant care and attention. Because here's the truth. We only invest mental real estate in details that matter to us. Our brains are constantly filtering information, deciding what's worth remembering and what can be discarded. If she's remembering that you mentioned hating the sound of styrofoam, or that you always order your burger without onions, even though you like onions on everything else, or that you get quiet when you're stressed instead of talking it out, or that you mentioned your favorite childhood movie was something obscure she'd never heard of. She's not just listening to you. She's studying you. She's learning you. She's making space for you in her mind. And that space, that mental and emotional real estate, that's precious territory that we don't give away lightly. When a woman starts storing your details like treasures, when she's building an encyclopedia of everything about him in her head, that's love beginning to take root. Sign 3. She seeks your validation on decisions. This one might surprise you because it's so subtle, but it's incredibly revealing about her emotional state. And I want to be really clear about something important before I explain this. She starts seeking your validation on decisions, even small ones that she's perfectly capable of making herself. And I need you to understand that this isn't about being dependent or lacking confidence or losing her independence. This is about emotional integration. This is about you becoming part of her internal decision-making process. She'll text you photos of 2 different outfits asking which one you prefer, not because she can't choose clothes, but because she wants to know which version of herself you find most attractive. She'll mention she's thinking about cutting her hair and gauge your reaction carefully, watching your face for any sign of approval or concern. She'll ask what you think about a job opportunity, and she's not just looking for career advice. She's trying to understand how this decision might affect you, your relationship, your future together. Even smaller things. She'll ask whether she should go to her friend's party this weekend, or what movie you think you should watch together, or which restaurant sounds better for dinner. On the surface, these might seem like simple collaborative decisions, but there's something deeper happening. What she's really doing is including you in her internal decision-making process. She's making you a voice in her head. Think about it. When you're deciding something important, you might think, what would my dad say about this? Or, how would my best friend react? Or, what would my mentor advise? When a woman is emotionally attached to you, you become one of those voices. Your opinion carries weight in her internal council of advisors. I remember when I was attached to someone, I found myself asking his opinion on everything from what to have for lunch to whether I should take a different route to work to avoid traffic. It wasn't because I couldn't make these decisions. I'd been making decisions perfectly fine for years before I met him. It was because I wanted his perspective to be part of my perspective. I wanted to see the world partially through his eyes. I wanted our preferences to start aligning, our choices to start harmonizing. But here's the deeper layer. She's also testing how much you care about her choices, how much attention you pay to her life, how invested you are in her happiness and success. When she asks your opinion about her career move, she's not just seeking advice. She's seeing if you understand her goals, her fears, her ambitions. She's checking if you care enough to give a thoughtful response. She's not seeking permission. She's seeking connection. She's including you in the small moments of her day, because those small moments feel incomplete without your input. That's emotional attachment. That's her subconscious way of saying, your thoughts matter to me, your preferences influence mine. You're becoming part of how I make sense of the world. And here's something interesting. If you start paying attention, you'll notice that she's more likely to ask your opinion when the decision somehow affects how she presents herself to the world, or when it's something that might impact your relationship, or when she's genuinely torn between options and needs someone she trusts to help her think it through. Sign 4. Her body language changes around others. Now this is where most men miss the biggest clue, because it's not about how she acts with you, it's about how she acts with everyone else when you're around. And once you see this pattern, you'll understand female psychology at a completely different level. Her body language completely changes in group settings. She becomes hyper-aware of your presence, even when she's talking to other people. Her body starts treating you like a magnetic north, like her personal anchor point in any social situation. Picture this. You're at a party. She's across the room talking to her friends about work drama, or some movie she saw or whatever. But every few minutes, her eyes find you. When someone tells a joke, she doesn't just laugh. She looks at you to see your reaction. Did you think it was funny too? Did you catch that reference? Are you enjoying yourself? When someone says something interesting or controversial, she glances your way to see if you caught it, to gauge your response, to silently communicate with you across the room. Even more telling, her body physically orients toward you. She might be in a conversation with 3 other people, fully engaged in what they're saying, responding appropriately, asking follow-up questions, but her shoulders are angled in your direction. Her feet point toward you. If you move to a different part of the room, within a few minutes, she's somehow migrated in your direction too. Not obviously, not in a way that looks clingy or desperate, but gradually, naturally, like she's drawn by an invisible string. Here's what's really fascinating. She'll position herself so she can see you while she's talking to other people. She'll choose seats that give her a good view of where you are. She'll stand in spots where she can monitor your interactions, your mood, your energy level. She's not being possessive or jealous. She's being protective and attentive. This is subconscious body language that she can't control. When a woman is emotionally attached, your presence becomes her anchor point in any social situation. She uses you as her emotional barometer, Is this funny? Let me see if he thinks it's funny. Is this person being weird? What's his read on this situation? Am I talking too much? Is he bored? Does he need rescuing from that conversation? I've watched this happen countless times with friends who were emotionally attached to someone. A woman will be completely engaged in a conversation, laughing, storytelling, fully present with the people she's talking to, but the moment her emotionally significant person enters the room, her entire energy shifts. She doesn't stop talking to other people, she doesn't abandon her conversations, but there's this underlying awareness, this magnetic pull toward that one person. Her body betrays her attachment before her words ever do. She might play it cool verbally, she might not want to seem too eager or too invested, but physically, she's already claimed you as her person in that space. You're not just another guy at the party, you're her guy at the party, and everyone else becomes secondary to that dynamic. And here's something really interesting. Other people notice this too. Her friends will pick up on the fact that her attention is split. That part of her is always tracking you. They might tease her about it, or comment that she seems distracted, or ask if everything's okay. That's because when a woman is emotionally attached, it's impossible to give 100% of her attention to anything else when you're in the same space. Sign 5. She creates inside jokes and references. Here's something that reveals emotional territory marking, and most guys don't realize how significant this is, or how much intentional work goes into it. She constantly creates inside jokes and references that only you two understand. She's actively building a private language, a secret world that exists just between you two, and she's doing it with the dedication of an architect designing a house she plans to live in forever. Maybe you both witnessed something funny at a coffee shop. The barista accidentally called out triple shot anxiety latte instead of triple shot vanilla latte. And now, every time either of you is stressed, one of you references the anxiety latte. Maybe she gives you a nickname that makes no sense to anyone else but perfectly captures some moment you shared or some quirk she's noticed about you. Maybe there's a song that came on during a random car ride that now belongs to you two because of the conversation you had while it played. She'll reference these moments constantly. In the middle of a group conversation, she'll make a comment that makes you smirk because you know exactly what she's referring to, while everyone else is completely lost. She'll send you memes that only make sense because of that weird conversation you had at 2 a.m. 3 weeks ago about whether cereal counts as soup. She'll use phrases that sound normal to everyone else, but carry special meaning for you. But here's what's really happening beneath the surface. She's not just being playful or showing off her good memory. She's actively constructing a shared history with you. Every inside joke, every private reference, every remember when is a brick in the foundation of what she hopes will become a lasting emotional structure. I think about relationships I've been in, where we had our own language, phrases that meant something special to us, references that would make us both crack up while leaving everyone else confused and slightly annoyed. We'd have entire conversations in public using these references, saying things that sounded innocent to outsiders, but were actually deeply intimate communications between us. That's not accidental. That's intentional emotional architecture. She's building something with you, creating a world that exists nowhere else but between you two. She's establishing emotional real estate that belongs exclusively to your relationship. Because here's what she's really doing. She's making it so that certain experiences, certain jokes, certain moments can never exist with anyone else. She's creating emotional property that's exclusively yours. When she hears that song somewhere else, she thinks of you. When she sees something that reminds her of your inside joke, she wants to text you immediately. She's creating positive associations, building a collection of shared experiences that make your relationship feel unique and irreplaceable. She's not just making jokes, she's building a private world with you, and every reference is an invitation back into that world. It's her way of saying, we have something special, we have something that belongs just to us. We have a history, a language, a collection of moments that no one else can understand or replicate. That's attachment. That's her way of creating emotional intimacy and exclusivity. That's her subconscious method of making your relationship feel different from any other relationship either of you has had. Sign 6. She defends you in your absence. This one you might never even know about, but it's one of the most powerful indicators of genuine attachment, and it reveals something beautiful about how women love. She defends you when you're not there. And I don't just mean if someone says something obviously mean or insulting about you. I mean, she becomes your advocate, your protector, your PR person in spaces where you can't defend yourself. She becomes fiercely protective of your reputation, your character, your honor. Her friend makes a casual comment like, "He seems kind of quiet, doesn't he? Is he always that serious?" And instead of agreeing or staying neutral or brushing it off, she jumps in with, "He's not quiet, he's thoughtful. He actually has really interesting things to say once you get to know him. He's just not someone who talks just to fill silence. I actually love that about him. He only speaks when he has something meaningful to contribute." Her mum questions whether you're ambitious enough, whether you have a solid plan for your future, whether you're serious about your career, and she finds herself getting genuinely upset, passionately defending your goals, your work ethic, your timeline, your approach to life. She explains your vision in ways that maybe you've never even articulated to yourself. She becomes your spokesperson, your advocate, your champion. Her co-workers make jokes about men in general. Men never listen. Men are all commitment phobic. Men don't understand emotions. And she feels this weird compulsion to clarify that you're different, that you're not like that you actually listen better than most people she knows, that you're emotionally intelligent and thoughtful and present. This happens because when a woman is emotionally attached, attacking you feels like attacking her. Your reputation becomes tied to her sense of self. She can't sit comfortably while people misunderstand or underestimate you because she's invested in how the world sees you. Your success reflects well on her judgment. Your character speaks to her ability to choose good people. Your worth becomes connected to her worth. I remember being at a dinner party where someone made a dismissive comment about the guy I was attached to. Something about how he was probably just playing around and wasn't serious about anything. How guys his age never know what they want. And I felt this fire in my chest, this immediate need to correct the record. I found myself passionately defending him, explaining his depth, his loyalty, his intentions, his goals, his character. I talked about how thoughtful he was, how he always followed through on his word, how he was actually one of the most reliable people I'd ever met. My friends looked at me like I'd lost my mind because I'd only been dating him for a few months. And here I was, defending him like he was my husband of 10 years. But that's the thing about emotional attachment. It makes protecting the other person feel instinctive, necessary, urgent. When someone you're attached to gets criticized, it doesn't feel like they're criticizing a separate person. It feels like they're criticizing part of you, questioning your judgment, attacking something you care about deeply. The urge to defend becomes as natural as defending yourself. She might never tell you about these moments. You might never know that she spent 20 minutes explaining to her sister why you're actually perfect the way you are, or that she shut down her friend's suggestion that she could do better, or that she corrected her co-worker's assumptions about your profession or your personality or your intentions. But it's happening. And it's happening because when a woman is emotionally attached, protecting your reputation becomes as natural as protecting her own. You become part of her tribe, her family, her people, and she protects her people fiercely. Sign 7, she plans future scenarios with you. But here's where attachment reveals its true depth, and this is probably one of the most significant signs you can watch for because it shows long-term emotional investment. She doesn't just talk about the future in vague terms, she actively plans future scenarios with you automatically included. And I'm not talking about distant someday fantasies or wishful thinking. I'm talking about concrete, specific plans where you're just there, assumed, integrated, part of the picture without question. She mentions a concert happening in 6 months and automatically assumes you'll go together. She doesn't ask if you want to go or if you'll still be together then. She just says, "Oh, we should get tickets to that." She talks about her friend's wedding next year and casually mentions what you should wear, or where you'll stay, or whether you'll know anyone else there. She discusses career moves, living situations, travel plans, family events, and you're just included, present, expected. When we go to that new restaurant downtown, when we take that weekend trip to the mountains, when we meet my college friends next month. Notice the language. It's not if, it's when. It's not, maybe you could come, it's we will go. It's not would you want to, it's we should definitely. This is huge because it shows she's not just enjoying the present moment with you. She's emotionally invested in a future that includes you. She's making space for you in plans that haven't even happened yet, in scenarios that are months away, in situations that require long-term thinking and commitment. I remember realizing I was deeply attached to someone when I caught myself automatically including him in every future scenario I imagined. I wasn't consciously deciding to do this. It just started happening naturally, like my brain had rewired itself to think in terms of we instead of I. When I thought about Christmas, he was there. When I imagined moving to a new apartment, I was thinking about what he would like about the neighborhood, whether the kitchen was big enough for both of us to cook, whether there was parking for his car. When friends invited me to events months away, I'd immediately think, "Oh, he'll love this," or "I should check if he's free," or "I wonder if this is something we'd both enjoy." But here's the deeper psychology. She's not just imagining a future with you, she's architecting one. She's subconsciously laying groundwork, creating expectation, building momentum toward shared experiences. Every future plan that includes you is like a tiny commitment, a small promise she's making to herself about where this is heading. She starts making decisions based on how they'll affect both of you. She considers your schedule when making her own plans. She thinks about your preferences when choosing activities. She factors your goals into her own goal setting. She's not just planning activities, she's planning a life. And you're central to that vision. This extends to smaller things too. She'll buy groceries thinking about what you like to eat. She'll plan her weekend wondering what you might want to do together. She'll make doctor's appointments considering when you're free to drive her or pick her up. She'll choose gym classes based on what time you get off work. Her individual life starts becoming naturally integrated with thoughts of your shared life. Sign 8. She shows genuine concern for your well-being. This goes deeper than just caring, and it's something you'll feel in your bones when it's real, because it affects how she shows up in your life daily. She shows genuine, active concern for your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. Not just, "How was your day?" Politeness that anyone with basic social skills can manage, but real investment in your health, your happiness, your success, your peace of mind. She notices when you seem stressed before you even mention it. She picks up on subtle changes in your energy, your sleep patterns, your mood, your appetite, your posture. She remembers that you have that big presentation on Thursday and checks in about how you're feeling about it on Tuesday. She notices you've been working late a lot and brings up whether you're getting enough sleep, whether you're eating properly, whether you need help managing your workload. When you mention you're not feeling well, she doesn't just say, "Feel better," and move on with her day. She asks about symptoms, suggests remedies, offers to bring you soup or medicine or anything you need. She checks in throughout the day to see how you're doing. She might even do research about what you're experiencing to see if there's anything that might help. When you're going through a tough time at work, she doesn't just listen sympathetically, she actively helps you problem solve, or at least asks thoughtful follow-up questions the next day. She remembers the details of what you're dealing with. She celebrates your small victories and genuinely worries about your challenges. This concern shows up in unexpected ways, that reveal how much mental space you occupy in her daily life. She texts you when it's raining to make sure you have an umbrella. She remembers you mentioning that your back's been bothering you and asks if you've seen a doctor about it, or suggests stretches, or offers to massage it. She notices you seem more anxious lately and gently suggests activities that might help you relax. A walk, a movie, a massage, time in nature. The key difference is this: when a woman is emotionally attached, your problems become her problems. Not in a codependent way, where she's trying to fix everything or control your life, but in an "I'm invested in your happiness and well-being" way. Your stress affects her mood. Your success makes her genuinely happy. Your struggles keep her up at night thinking about how she can help or support you. I think about times when I was attached to someone and found myself worrying about their health, their job stress, their family drama as if it were my own. I'd find myself researching solutions to problems they mentioned, sending them articles about things they were struggling with, checking in on situations they'd told me about weeks earlier. If he mentioned having trouble sleeping, I'd remember to ask about it days later and suggest things that might help. If he was stressed about money, I'd find myself thinking about practical ways he could save or earn more. If he had a conflict with a family member, I'd genuinely worry about how it was affecting him emotionally. Emotional attachment makes your well-being feel connected to her well-being. She can't be completely at peace if she knows you're struggling, and she can't be completely happy if she knows you're unhappy. That's not normal caring, that's emotional intertwining. That's what happens when someone becomes important enough that their pain becomes your pain, their joy becomes your joy. Sign 9. She opens up about her vulnerabilities. Now, this is where trust meets attachment, and it's one of the most intimate signs you can receive because it requires incredible courage. She opens up about her real vulnerabilities, not just surface-level struggles or complaints about her day, but the deep, scary stuff that she doesn't share with most people. The things she's afraid to say out loud because they make her feel exposed, raw, defenseless. She tells you about her childhood fears that still affect her as an adult. Maybe she's still afraid of the dark because of something that happened when she was 7, or she gets anxious in crowds because she got lost at a fair once and felt terrified and alone. She shares insecurities about her body, her intelligence, her worth that she's never said out loud to anyone else. Maybe she thinks her laugh is too loud, or she's convinced she's not smart enough for her job, or she secretly worries that people only tolerate her rather than actually enjoying her company. She talks about family trauma that shaped her, her parents' divorce, and how it affected her ability to trust that relationships can last, or growing up with an alcoholic parent, and how it makes her hyper-vigilant about people's moods, or being the responsible oldest child and how it made her feel like she always has to have everything together. She shares dreams she's afraid to pursue because what if she fails? Maybe she's always wanted to write a book, but she's terrified it would be terrible. Or she dreams of starting her own business, but she's scared of financial instability. Or she wants to travel the world, but she's afraid of being alone, or running out of money, or something bad happening. This isn't just casual conversation, or even normal relationship sharing. This is her showing you the parts of herself that she usually keeps hidden, protected, secret. She's trusting you with the information that could hurt her most if used against her. She's giving you access to her soft spots, her tender places, her emotional wounds. She might tell you about past relationships that broke her heart and how they still affect her ability to trust. She might admit that she sometimes feels like she's pretending to be more confident than she actually is, that inside, she still feels like that insecure teenager she used to be. She might share that she has days where she doesn't recognize herself in the mirror, where she feels disconnected from her own life. When a woman shares her vulnerabilities with you, she's doing something incredibly brave and incredibly significant. She's saying, I trust you with the parts of me that I don't even like about myself. I trust you to handle my brokenness carefully. I trust you not to use my secrets against me. I trust you to still see me as worthy of love, even after you know all my flaws and fears and failures. I remember the first time I shared my real insecurities with someone I was attached to, talking about how I sometimes felt like I was pretending to be more confident than I actually was, how I worried I wasn't interesting enough to hold his attention long term, how certain situations made me feel like that insecure, awkward teenager I used to be. It was terrifying, but it was also this incredible relief, like finally letting someone see behind the curtain, behind the performance, behind the polished version of myself I usually presented to the world. That level of vulnerability doesn't happen with casual connections. It doesn't happen with someone you're just having fun with, or someone you're not sure about. It happens when someone has earned not just your trust, but your emotional investment. It happens when you're attached enough to risk being fully seen, even if what they see might make them leave. When she shows you her scars, she's showing you her soul. And that's attachment at its deepest, most authentic level. Sign 10. She becomes emotionally affected by your mood. And here's the sign that reveals the deepest level of attachment, the one that shows you've moved from important to her to part of her emotional ecosystem. And this is the most powerful indicator you'll ever learn. She becomes emotionally affected by your mood in ways that she can't control, even when she tries to maintain her own emotional independence. Her emotional state starts to mirror and respond to yours like you're connected by invisible emotional strings. And when your mood shifts, hers moves too. When you're having a rough day, she feels unsettled, restless, off balance, even if her own day was going perfectly. When you're stressed about something at work, she carries that tension in her body. Her shoulders get tight, she has trouble focusing, she feels this underlying anxiety that she can't quite explain. When you're excited about a project or opportunity, she feels genuinely energized by your enthusiasm, like your joy is contagious and infectious. This isn't just empathy. Empathy is understanding how someone else feels. This is emotional contagion, emotional synchronization. It's like you're connected by invisible emotional strings, and when your emotional state changes, hers automatically adjusts to match. You come home frustrated about something that happened at work. Maybe your boss was unfair, or a project fell through, or a coworker took credit for your idea. And suddenly she's irritated too, even though she was in a great mood all day. She might not even realize it's happening at first. She might think she's annoyed about traffic, or her friend's drama, or something completely unrelated. But really, she's absorbing your frustration like a sponge. You get good news about something you've been hoping for: a promotion, a project approval, recognition for your work, progress toward a goal, and she's genuinely as excited as if it were her own victory. She's not just happy for you in a supportive way. She feels the actual joy, the actual triumph, the actual relief that you're feeling. She might not even realize this is happening initially. She might find herself feeling inexplicably anxious on days when you seemed worried about something earlier. She might feel restless, and later connect it to the fact that you seemed unsettled when you left for work that morning. She might have trouble sleeping when she knows you're stressed about something, even if it doesn't directly affect her life. This is emotional entanglement at its deepest level. When your feelings become her feelings, when your energy directly affects her energy, when she can't be completely happy if she knows you're not okay, that's not normal concern or support. That's attachment so deep that your emotional worlds have started to merge. I've been in relationships where I could literally feel the other person's mood shift before they even said anything. Their energy would walk into the room before they did. If they were carrying stress or sadness or excitement, I'd pick up on it immediately, and it would become part of my own emotional experience. If they were off, I was off. If they were excited, I caught their excitement like a contagious laugh. This level of emotional connection is rare and beautiful, and sometimes overwhelming. It's the kind of attachment that makes someone irreplaceable in your life, because they're not just someone you care about. They're someone whose emotional state has become part of your own emotional landscape. They're not just in your life, they're part of your internal emotional world. When a woman reaches this level of attachment with you, your happiness becomes necessary for her happiness. Your peace becomes necessary for her peace. Your well-being becomes intertwined with her well-being in ways that go beyond conscious choice or decision. Here's what you need to understand about these signs. Emotional attachment isn't something we women can fake or force. It's involuntary. It's authentic. It comes from a place so deep that we often don't even realize we're displaying these behaviors. When a woman is truly emotionally attached to you, these signs will show up whether she wants them to or not. She might try to play it cool. She might try to protect her heart. She might even try to convince herself she's not that invested. But her behavior will tell the real story. And here's the beautiful thing about genuine attachment. It's not desperate or needy. It's not clingy or possessive. Real emotional attachment comes from a place of genuine appreciation, deep connection, and authentic care. It's her subconscious way of saying, "This person matters to me in a way that goes beyond casual interest." If you've recognized several of these signs in someone in your life, congratulations, you've found something rare. Real emotional connection is precious, and it's not something that happens with just anyone. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these signs surprised you the most? Have you noticed any of these behaviors in your own relationships? Maybe you're recognizing these patterns in someone you care about, or maybe you're realizing you've been missing these signals all along. And if this video helped you understand the real signs of emotional attachment, the ones that go way deeper than surface-level interest, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more insights into what women are really thinking and feeling, and hit that notification bell so you never miss these deep dives into female psychology. Stay observant, stay authentic, and remember that real connection is always worth recognizing and protecting.